Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week of ICD-10 PCS coding. This week, we're going to be covering chapters 18, 19, and 20. 18 is the most involved as it covers OB, as there are no specific procedures for 19 and 20, but we'll be doing some exercises for them as we will see. Chapter 18 focuses on the obstetrics section. This is a section on to itself, and it covers things that are done on what the coding book refers to as the products of conception. This includes such things as abortion and delivery. An important point that sometimes people that are new to PCS coding overlook is that these procedures that are listed in the obstetrics section only cover procedures that are done on the products of conception. Anything else is coded to the medical surgical section. Another thing that is somewhat confusing is the use of instruments during a delivery. These are things like forceps, vacuums. Anytime you see those types of instruments being used in a delivery, it's coded to the root operation of delivery, even though it might be written as a forceps delivery. I know this is a little bit confusing, but if you just keep in mind that you have, when you see instruments being used, it's coded to extraction, you're going to be fine. And again, as we mentioned, chapter 19 and 20 dealing with perinatal and congenital conditions really don't have separate guidelines and separate sections dedicated to perinatal congenital conditions, but we do code them in the sense that we have patients with spina bifida. We have perinatal conditions, postpartum conditions that need follow-up and need procedures done. But again, since they're not coded to the products of conception, they're coded on the pregnant female or the child after they're born, they're coded generally from the medical surgical section. If you have any questions about this material, please feel free to reach out to me during office hours or send me a message and we can schedule a time to talk, meet, and discuss. That's all I have for you. We'll see you online. Have a great week.